and his phone said the call lasted 12 minutes. What had he said to her in 12 minutes? Oh, he could think of a lot of things. The problem was he wasn't sure which things he'd said and which things he'd managed to keep inside his big mouth. It could have been anything, ranging from, "I still love you," to, "I miss your tits." He groaned audibly as he made the left turn. God, he hoped he hadn't told her he missed her tits. He did miss her tits. They were glorious. Best tits in the world. But he hadn't spoken to her in 2 years, and that's not what he'd wanted to say to her the next time they spoke. What he'd wanted to tell her was he was sorry. He was so damn sorry some days it was all he could focus on. Hopefully, he'd at least manage to apologize. It would make the next part of what he was about to do that much easier. He turned the car into the alley entrance. The studio was sandwiched in between a row of walk-up townhouses and an apartment building. It looked like nothing. No signage, no obvious indicators of what happened inside the brick walls. Most of the people who worked there and the bigger artists used the back entrance because the parking off the alley allowed more privacy. At least, that's what he'd been told once upon a time. And Nicole used the front door because her house was across and down the street. It was late enough in the day that she should already be gone. He wanted to secure the job before seeing her. His mind swam with vivid potential scenarios of how they'd meet again. He'd impress her with his growth, and they'd laugh about what an idiot he used to be. "Your destination is on the right," his GPS told him. This was going to work. He could feel it in his bones. It had taken him 2 years to apologize, and another 7 months after that for him to have a reckoning in his own soul that came in the middle of the night in the Badlands of South Dakota. But when Johnny Torres had called him and offered an open door, he knew it as surely as he knew the Jurassic period was his favorite to teach. He had a chance, an opportunity. Just a small one. But it was there, and he wasn't going to run away from it. Not this time. Never again. He turned the car into the parking lot, excitement buzzing in his veins. Every decision in his life had brought him to this moment, and he felt good about it. He was finally ready to embrace life and stop being afraid to be happy. It was going to be good from here on out. Great, even. He hit the brakes as a flash of color and limbs hit his windshield with a loud thud. The car came to a hard stop and the colors rolled off the hood of the car and hit the ground. Oh, God. He slammed the car into park and undid his seatbelt. How had that happened? Please don't be a person. Please don't be a person. His stomach turned and his hands shook as he shoved the door open. The hot, sticky July heat engulfed him immediately as he ran around the front of his car. It was a person. He dropped to his knees, hands trembling. He'd hit a person with his car. "Are you okay?" he asked, not sure where to put his hands. It was a woman in a bright dress. The fabric tangled around her legs. Both of her shoes had come off. Her arms were tucked under her body at an odd angle. And the hair. Her hair was blonde. And she was utterly still. He reached for her, knowing it was Nicole and still hoping it wasn't. Footsteps came racing toward him, but he didn't glance up. "Call an ambulance," he said to whoever had joined them, and he felt her neck for a pulse. A flutter under his fingertips let him know she was alive. Of course she was alive. The car had barely been moving. It couldn't possibly be that bad. Please don't be that bad. He pressed his face to the ground to get level with hers and brushed her hair out of her eyes. She was unconscious, or at least she appeared to be unconscious. He didn't want to move her, but he also wanted to be sure she could breathe. He looked up to see that they were surrounded by some people he knew and some he didn't. A dark-haired man in a light blue Henley was on the phone with emergency services. Sabine joined him on the ground. Sabine? He did a double-take on his younger sister. Why was she there? "What happened?" she asked. "She got hit by a car." Sabine's head jerked around as she looked from Andre to his car and back again. Nicole made a noise and they both looked down to her before Sabine could state the obvious.